You know, for generations of exiled dwarves, the name Khazad-dûm was, well, it was more than just a memory. It was a dream. Their ancient, glorious kingdom, lost to darkness. That longing to go back, it was like a fire that just never went out. And that fire is what sets the stage for one of Middle-earth's great tragedies, a story of incredible hope and just catastrophic failure.
And this quote from Glóin, which he says at the Council of Elrond, it just perfectly captures the whole dwarven mindset. You can just feel it, right? It's this powerful mix of deep love for their ancestral home and this gnawing dread of what was waiting for them inside. They dreamed of its riches, for sure, but they also never forgot the terror that drove them out in the first place.
So yeah, that's really the big question we're going to dig into here. How did a hero like Balin, a real legend, leading this expedition that was fueled by so much hope, end up leading his people to absolute ruin? Turns out the clues were there all along.
Okay, so to really get why they failed, we first have to understand what exactly they were trying to get back. Because Moria, to the dwarves, was way more than just a mountain filled with treasure.
I mean, this was the absolute pinnacle. The height of dwarven power, their craftsmanship, their culture, everything. Look, reclaiming Erebor from a dragon, that was one thing. But reclaiming Khazad-dûm from the shadows of history itself, that was a much grander and way more dangerous ambition. The pull was almost impossible to resist.
And right at the heart of this almost irresistible ambition was one of the most famous dwarves of his time, Balin, son of Fundin. To understand the quest, you really have to understand the man. See, Balin wasn't just some brute warrior. He's described as the sharpest and most empathetic of all of Thorin's company. He was kind, he was wise, and he was the very first one to see the true quality in Bilbo Baggins. He was a real leader.
You know, this simple, polite exchange, which happens right after Bilbo manages to sneak past him on watch, it tells you everything you need to know about his character. It's this little moment of mutual respect where they meet as equals. It just perfectly highlights Balin's ability to make friends and his kind of rare, gentle nature.
So here's the thing. Balin was a living legend, right? But what happens when legends get, well, restless? In the restored kingdom of Erebor, which had become pretty conservative, there just wasn't a big role left for an old adventurer. He'd helped bring back a kingdom, but his own sense of purpose? It felt lost. And that yearning for a new challenge? That became a really powerful driving force for him.
But it wasn't just about Balin's personal feelings. Oh no. There were much bigger, more strategic things pushing this whole expedition forward.
Now, if you put these two quests side by side, you start to see the blueprint Balin thought he was following. Thorin's quest had succeeded against all odds, but the situations were completely different. Balin wasn't leading some small stealth mission. He was leading a full-on colonization effort. And here's the real kicker. He did it all without the official blessing of his king.
So it really boils down to three main drivers here. First, Balin's ambition to forge his own destiny, to be a lord. Second, that dangerous idea that lightning could strike twice after Erebor's success. And third, the ultimate prize, Mithril. With war on the horizon, the true silver of Moria was worth more than all the gold in the world. It could give the dwarfs a real edge in the darkness to come.
And what's crazy is, for a while, it actually worked. The first bits of news that got back to Erebor, they were all good. The dream, for just a brief, shining moment, was actually becoming a reality.
This timeline, man, it tells a story of these incredible highs and just gut-wrenching lows. They get there, they drive back the orcs, and Balin takes the title he's always wanted, Lord of Moria. They even find the mithril they came for. But look at the dates. The pressure from the orcs is constant. It's a relentless tide that just never, ever stops rising.
Okay, this entry right here, scrawled in their record book. It's absolutely electric. You can feel that rush of excitement, the pure triumph. Just imagine their joy. They had done it. They had found Mithril. In that one moment, the entire gamble must have felt like it had paid off. The glory of Khazad-dûm felt like it was finally within their grasp.
But that incredible high, it didn't last. The silence that came after those good reports was a terrible, terrible sign. The dream was about to become a total nightmare.
And this is where you see the fatal strategic flaw in the whole plan. The colony was completely isolated. They couldn't get reinforcements, they couldn't get supplies. But the orcs, they could pull in more forces from all over the Misty Mountains. Every single dwarf they lost was irreplaceable, but every orc they killed was just one of 1,000 more waiting to take its place. They were just being ground down day by day.
And then it happened. The beginning of the end. And it wasn't in some glorious battle against a giant foe. No, It was a single arrow from an orc hiding in the rocks. Balin, the great hero, Lord of Moria, was shot while he was looking into the mirror. His death didn't just break the colony's spirit, it sealed their fate.
And this is it. The final, absolutely bone-chilling entry from their chronicle. You can practically feel the panic and the despair in those words. Those drums signaled the end was here. The orcs were gathering for one last assault. The last survivors trapped in the chamber of Moserbul couldn't do anything but wait for the inevitable to crash through the door.
So, fast forward 30 years. When the Fellowship stumbles upon Balin's tomb, they're not just finding a grave. They're finding the echo of a great tragedy, a warning written in blood and dust.
So when you break it all down, it wasn't just one mistake. It was this cascade of fatal errors. The goal was way too ambitious. The lack of official support meant they had no lifeline, no plan B. And finally, there was pride. If they had just retreated after finding the mithril, it would have been a spectacular success. But they stayed, and they paid the ultimate price for it.
And really, Gandalf's final judgment on the whole affair just says it all. The courage of Balin and his followers, that was never in doubt. They were brave beyond measure. But bravery without wisdom, without the right timing, well, that's just a faster way to get to disaster.
And that's the question we're left with, isn't it? Was it all just a foolish dream born from one dwarf's restless pride? Or, by daring to relight a flame in one of the darkest places in the world, did Balin's failure somehow serve a different purpose? A tragic, yeah, but maybe a necessary reminder of what had been lost and what, one day, would need to be reclaimed for good.